Good day, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Applied Innovation Exchange podcast, brought to you by Capgemini's Applied Innovation Exchange. Today, we're looking at how emerging trends in artificial intelligence are reshaping the retail value chain. I have with me Ganesh Subramanian, who's the founder and CEO of Stylumia, who I met in the context of our discussions with one of our customers actually in the AIE. Stylumia is a startup with a platform where artificial intelligence meets fashion, and it provides real-time analytics for fashion forecasting. I also have with me Partha Case, subject matter expert from our retail sector hub in Capgemini. I am Nishith Srivastava, Chief Technology and Innovation Officer for Capgemini India. I welcome you all to the podcast. Now, artificial intelligence, as we all know, offers one of the most significant opportunities in the retail space. Retailers from across the world are investing in this advanced technology to improve customer experience and therefore their operational efficiency and productivity. Global annual spending, I'm told, on artificial intelligence by retailers will top 7.5 billion by 2022. But paradoxically, we also find that only 1% of AI initiatives reach full scale deployment. And that's something which confounds all of us. Ganesh, on that note, could you give us some insight into the current state of the adoption in artificial intelligence in the retail industry, starting with a quick overview of Stylumia?
Yeah, first of all, I'm extremely delighted to be here on this podcast, and thanks for the opportunity, Nishit and Partha. For just to give you an overview of where we are in the fashion industry globally. Fashion industry globally is around $3 trillion, and another very interesting fact about the industry is we are very responsible for the overall climate change and carbon footprint. We are the number two carbon footprint industry in the world, just next to oil. If I had to give you a very simple statistics, in 2018, globally we made 150 billion garments, and out of which a staggering 50 billion garments never sold, and 50 billion of them sold at discount. That really brings us to a key challenge in this very, very big industry is that most of what we make in the fashion industry does not sell. What that means is we have an oversupply problem, and that oversupply problem is compounded by the complexity of the supply chain, which is very long, and variability of demand. What Stylumia is up to is to bring order to this unpredictable world of fashion using cutting edge AI. From an adoption perspective, I can just share what's happening in the fashion world and our experience in particular. We started 3.5 years back, and when we got to the market from pilot to full scale implementation, we see an adoption ratio of anywhere between 30 to 50%. And I'm sure, Nishit, that you have a large overview across industries, and I'm sure your numbers reflect the reality of the overall ecosystem.
Thanks, Ganesh. Partha, would you be able to give us your insights into the current state of affairs with the AI and in the retail sector?
I agree with Ganesh. We have done our own research in terms of AI adoption in retail, and what we find is there is, if I look at the number of use cases that are getting implemented or piloted in artificial intelligence in the retail space, 75% of those use cases are mainly to enhance the customer facing operations of a retail chain. What that essentially means is these are essentially to transform the customer experience by handling the first level conversations that the customers are trying to have online with the brand, trying to find out products by doing search, image based search, voice based search, trying for to having personalized conversations with the brand. And there are many such examples of retailers like Osha and high end fashion brands like Louis Vuitton, who are experimenting widely with AI and having Facebook bots and Messenger bots who are trying to engage with customers in a more personalized kind of manner. These kind of use cases are primarily being piloted by the brands to increase the conversion rates, improve the metrics in terms of source to sale. So these are essentially the key metrics that we find in terms of adoption of AI. Primarily 75%, as I said, on the customer facing side, and remaining 25 on the operations and the supply chain side.
That's very interesting. We're seeing that while most retailers are focusing their artificial intelligence efforts on sales and marketing, there is a significant opportunity to unleash AI use cases across the value chain, mainly in operations and product development. Is that your assessment too, Ganesh?
Yeah, Nishit, I think we fully appreciate this viewpoint, and particularly professionals. We have worked in the fashion industry in the entire supply chain, and I've been exposed to tech starting Stylumia. We see a huge opportunity in retail. In our essence, retail is all about consumer on one side and product on the other side. While a lot has happened on the consumer side, what we saw lacking was, how do we ensure that these products are aligned to what the customer wants? And that's becoming so challenging in fashion when the market is so dynamic. For we see three clear opportunity areas. I would like to, state them. One is we clearly see a need of solving design intelligence, which is the what questions we'd call it. What kind of products should I be making for my customers, let's say X months from now? That's the first one. In second one is after you're done with what, equally important problem is how much. And we keep telling our clients that there is no bad product if you made the right quantities. What does that mean? Is quantity is as important as the quality of design, which is the demand forecasting side of the business. Now, how do we bring intelligence in the demand forecasting? Can we predict demand of an unseen product, and that to something that which is yet to be launched, for which there is no history? And that's a myth that we are solving at Stylumia. And the last one is how can we do intelligent distribution of what we have already made? For we are talking about going from end to end of design intelligence, followed by demand forecasting and intelligent distribution.
Yeah, thanks for that. Partha, would you want to add to what Ganesh just mentioned?
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring in a perspective, a non-fashion perspective to this, and what we are also seeing as an organization, we are starting to work with the leading retail brands, mainly on the supply chain side, and using AI to solve a variety of problems. For example, we are currently working with a very large Asia Pacific supermarket retailer, actually improving their entire assortment optimization issue. So we are trying to use a combination of machine learning and big data to actually help the merchandisers make better decisions in terms of what kind of products should go on their shelves, how much, and also giving them tools and platforms so that they can run a variety of what if simulations in terms of simulating if a particular facing up reduces by X amount, how does that impact the net increment or decrease in bottom line or profitability? So that is the kind of questions we are trying to solve for global retailers now. So that is a large opportunity we are also seeing as far as Capgemini is concerned.
Fascinating. Ganesh, I have to admit, it was fantastic reading your blog about phone shots. I don't know where you get that. The term is phenomenal. I just love it. How do you see innovation initiatives being successful in organizations?
Yeah, it's a very, very pertinent and relevant question. It's not all about innovation, it's about how do I apply, and that's what all the top management, the leadership is all concerned about. And when we hit our clients, and the leadership is definitely bought into the idea, and their only concern is how do we implement. And I'm going to share with you, three things of how we were able to execute. It was not a very, very easy path, and my inspiration came from reading this book called Loon Shots, and what does it mean for fashion, and that's how the phone shots came, which is about how US Navy won over Second World War by using this methodology, and it's very, very relevant today. And what I mean by those three steps are, what's very important execution is you're going to go with innovation, which we are calling the artist side of the business. And there is already a running business, which is the execution arm of this business. How is one going to balance between artist and the soldiers? Now, it's very important that one, every organization, wherever we went, that if you have an innovation arm and the execution arm separately, it really helps. Now, that poses one more challenge. The second thing is somebody has to orchestrate the soldiers and the artist. Now, that's something that very, very relevant. And in one of our client implementations, what the leadership said is, let's choose a micro space, which is where wanting to innovate, wanting to step ahead of the game. And we chose one division in that business, and there was an orchestrated who was balancing between execution and the artist. And the third thing is, when you have done the orchestration, there has to be a constant feedback between the artist, which is the innovation arm, and the implementation arm, which is the execution, because the execution arm is focused on efficiency, and they are not going to be happy with semi baked products. For the leadership has to ensure that the innovation and the execution work very closely with constant feedback, so that the adoption is progressive and complete. And in this client use case that we are talking about, we implemented this in one of their brands, and we've proven a success story now, where, for example, some of the metrics that we have impacted, that the prediction accuracy has improved by 20 to 30%. Now, with that improvement and the case study on the ground, now we are going across the entire organization, and that too in stages, to say how do we implement this across other brands in the organization. Just to sum up, three things: segregate innovation and execution separately, have an orchestrated who could oversee both of them, and also ensure that there is a constant feedback between these two arms in the business. And we have seen this as a good case study to adopt across other client sites.
I would like to bring in a fourth perspective, and uh, my perspective on this, additionally to what you also said, is from a top management perspective. One of the significant things that needs to be taken into consideration is empathy. Right? In terms of the innovation that you're trying to do, it is for whom, right? It's for the end consumers and then customers. And I bring this point up in the context of what Satya Nadella said famously in his book, Hit Refresh. He said that ideas excite me, but empathy grounds me, which means that unless and until what you're doing and all of this orchestration between the foot soldiers and the innovators all has to come into life with an end goal into mind, which is building a product or a solution, keeping the customer in mind and having empathy for his or her problems. So unless and until that is done, the innovation will never be successful. That's my perspective on this.
Yeah, thanks, Martha. Um, and as we all know, right, with the new wave of deep learning techniques, artificial intelligence has the potential to mimic the reasoning and creative capabilities of the human mind. How will this evolution bring about a shift in the retail industry? Are you working on platforms which will help designers do the job better, Ganesh?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to touch upon, let's get to the ground. In a fashion industry, all creation starts with designers, and designers look for inspiration. And the key question I want to place on the table, three key things that any fashion brand or retailer looking at today globally is, what's the next big thing? How do I spot it? There's so much happening, there's so many ideas. What should I not miss and what should I pick? That's the number one. And number two is, I've got lots of ideas on the table. How do I validate? Will this work or not? It's always a challenging question. It's today done through a lot of verification through the channel partners, intuitive ways of decision making with experts, a bit of data. But the question is there a better way to do it? And the third one is, are there missed opportunities? Is there so many things happening? We may not be doing everything, but how can we learn from what's happening around us? Three big questions. And I want to give you a case study of one of our brand partners, bestseller group, very well known in Europe for their fashion products across multiple brands in the portfolio. We worked with them, and I'll just give you a very simple case study where they spotted this trend called snake print from the Stylumia platform. Now, snake print is it's t-shirts and women's tops coming with print of snakes. Now, the concern was that, they saw the trend, but they were not sure whether my consumers will like snake on their t-shirt. Now, with so much of data here, that the designers got convinced, but the business team said that I'm not sure whether this will sell in my country. They went ahead and made snake prints, and you won't believe that these products sold 60% faster than the rest of the products made in the same time. And that gives us so much more conviction, not only us, right, and all our customers. But what you're basically saying is, using internet data at internet scale, using deep learning techniques, if we can forecast trends, and data based inspirations are definitely giving us a significant mileage over what we do today using our client platform. And hopefully it's giving us more and more confidence. Have we solving it 100%? No, but the question is we are able to give a significant mileage over the current baseline.
Yeah, Ganesh, and if you look at the fashion industry, I can, in my mind, I can segment it into two kinds of companies. One who are trend setters, and other who are trend followers, or the fast fashion, right? So my understanding and my the research that we did, coupled with my readings, lends me to believe that that AI can significantly help designers from a fast fashion perspective. Spotting the trend that someone has started and creating fashions based on that trend. So, but to be able to set the trend itself by looking at inspirations across nature, across architectures, things like, for example, if you look now, neon is a big trend, right? And that's been started by let's say the leading design houses like the Versace's and the Gucci's of the world, and based on that, the fast fashion is picking it up. But to create a fabric and to create colors, designs based on neon itself, and why neon? That because it was something as a retro hit many years back. So there are other inspirations like architecture as an inspiration, nature as an inspiration. So there are many other inspiration sources. So that tends to me to believe that can AI create new fashion trends? Probably it is not yet mature yet, but can it follow the trends and create design patterns based on those trends? Absolutely, I think that the technology is there, as you rightly said.
Yeah, Partha, just to only maybe I know interject here and just give one different point of view is that we now work with brands which are in fast fashion. We are working with brands which are in the super premium space. We also work with luxury. Now, the question is, how do you use all of these insights? What we are saying is we are not replacing the creativity. We are going to give a lot of raw material for people to mold this creativity. And the what we mold is completely unique. It's not that people are just copying. It's about, people say, everything is a remix. Now, it's a we are giving enough raw material curated with data for them to remix in a way which stands out very unique, even for premium and luxury brands.
Thank you for that, Ganesh. Let's switch gears now and talk about data in general. How do people view artificial intelligence and data in taking decisions?
Yeah, I think this word data, whenever we take data in our implementation and talk to creative people, it really puts people off. That's our experience. And what we realized is that, we sometimes think that creative people are not so data centric. But I would like to just give you a key insight. The key insight is what is data? If you ask the question, data is nothing but consumer's point of view. And the moment we say that we bring a lot of consumer point of view, creative people are with us. And that's a fundamental shift in all our pitch and discussions and pilots. We used to use data, we bring data insight, data based insights, etc. The moment we shifted to consumer insights and people are sitting there listening, in fact, our in terms of persona that we work with fashion brands, and within that designers, buyers and merchandisers. Today the most stickiest with us, it's all the creative people. They really want to use database platform which give them consumer insight so that they make designs which their consumers like, because the dream of every designer is they want to see more and more people on the streets wearing their own brands. And that's something that really happening. Yes, it takes a while. It's very important that how are we also engaging with our client partners, the personas, and talking in a way that it relates to their job. And that's our learning, Nishit. Just want to place on record there.
So Ganesh, to add on to that, when we are working with, so I'll bring in a different dimension here in terms of the work that we are doing with one of our largest consumer good companies. And in terms of data, what we are helping them do is tap into the entire social media space, the influencers across YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Instagrams of the world, and try to help them with multitude answering them multiple questions. So essentially, is this a good product to launch in this market? Once the product is launched with the initial campaigns, what is how are consumers feeling about it? um, are they are How do they react to certain marketing messages, right? Are there problems in the product's quality that might hamper the brand's reputation? So there is the entire social media command center that we run with one of the largest consumer good companies, and they view this data and insights as something essential and core to their business. We are working directly with brand managers to help them answer this kind of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe if I want to add two more bits, and it makes their life simple because the research time gets cut down significantly. Because when you have validated data, you can do, your research much faster and move on with actions.
Now that we know that there's a huge opportunity in using artificial intelligence to deliver business benefits, we do need a strategic commitment for any artificial intelligence project to succeed, and data is fundamental to that. And therefore, the second area to work on is to have a data governance support for the project. Thirdly, I think it's very important to experiment and then scale. Choosing a micro segment of your business for that would well be a great strategy. Celebrate those small wins. And with that, Ganesh and Partha, this was a fascinating discussion. Thank you so much for your insights and for speaking with us. And listeners, if you enjoyed this episode and would like to listen to more innovation stories, please subscribe to our podcast series on any of your favorite apps like iTunes or SoundCloud. Or if you wish to connect with the speakers, please see their connects in the description box. This is and was the Applied Innovation Exchange podcast, brought to you by Capgemini's Applied Innovation Exchange. Thank you so much for your time and attention.